and you're listening to the Illbrew Brooklyn Retrospect Illcast, where we explore individuals, organizations, and institutions of the diaspora.
DJ Chip in the building, the original.
No doubt.
Okay. Welcome to the BK Retro, Brooklyn Retrospect. Now, we can dive right into your history as a DJ. When did you start DJing?
I started fooling around with it in 1972. Me and my two partners, Larry B and Rap, we wanted to give some house parties. We had seen one of our guys from high school do it. So since I had the bulk of the audio equipment, I became the DJ. So I started fooling around with that. And at that time, I didn't even have a mixer, but my friend Ray Wiggins, we went to one of his parties over on Nostrand Avenue and Park Place, and the music kept going. I was like, wow, how's he doing that? Because prior to that, all the house parties we went to, there was only one turntable. So there was always a gap between the music. So I went in the back room and said, how you doing that? He said, oh, you just hook up one turntable to the phono and you hook up the other turntable to the auxiliary. And when you ready to mix, just turn the knob to the next turntable. So
it wasn't mixers. We're saying it wasn't mixers back then.
Well, I didn't have a mixer.
Okay.
I mean, there were mixers, but I just didn't have one.
Okay.
At the time.
Okay.
But I took that technique and I fooled around with it a lot. So by the time I got to a real mixer, it was easy for me to adapt.
Oh, okay. Well, number one, let's backtrack a little bit. Where are you originally from? Let's get that straight.
Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Then later my parents moved to Crown Heights.
Okay. Crown Heights Fair. You said 1972. That's a serious year. What was the political climate like in Brooklyn at that time?
Well, since, being a teenager at that time, we didn't really pay too much to the politics at that age. We were just too busy, chasing girls, listening to good music and having a good time. We wasn't really aware of what was going on politically too much because it really didn't affect us as teenagers.
Right. And what school did you attend?
I went to Abraham Lincoln, which is out here, Brighton Beach area.
Okay. Wow. Okay, Lincoln. A lot of folks went to Lincoln.
Yeah, that's very curious because I wrote about it. The fact that at that time, I think you had like 3 choices to pick for high school. I think Midwood was one I picked. I forgot who the other high school I picked. You wanted to go to the high schools that were most popular at that time. And I didn't get accepted by any ones that I picked. And I got this Abraham Lincoln business. I said, Abraham Lincoln? Matter of fact, a good percentage of the kids from Crown Heights were sent to Lincoln.
Wow. Okay.
I found out, I thought about, yeah.
So we saying in 1972, was it any fellow DJs that attended the school with you?
At that time in my school, just my friend Ray Wiggins, he was a football player. He was the one that was giving parties.
Okay. So, all right, let's
dive into like the popular DJs. No, they weren't at the high school.
Okay, so who at that time, we're talking about 1972. So who were some of the DJs that influenced you?
Oh, well, definitely. I used to go out to East New York. That was I'm quite sure you've seen the movie, the Education of Sonny Carson.
Oh yes,
so,
true.
so that was Tomahawk territory, and they ran security for the club there, the Superfly. As long as you didn't do anything stupid, they really didn't bother you. You know, be honest with you. But the DJ there, DJ Pie, they had a nice sound system in that warehouse, and he was playing stuff that I was listening to at home. So he was like on my wavelength as far as introducing like some new stuff. Because, you know, I was the first, well, not the first, but I had gotten to Grover Washington Jr. at the time, and he had this nice cut, No Tears in the End. And I said, yeah, you know, when I get some really good stuff, you know, I'm going to play this. And just so happened one night I went to the Superfly and DJ Ply played it. I said, oh, shoot. Wow. So, you know, that's when I realized, okay, you know, we on the same wavelength as far as, you know, bringing in new types of music to the crowd. You know, then later after that, Ron Yates, who had a radio station on FM, like down at the end of the dial, but needless to say, he had a spot on Fulton Street and Flanking Avenue called the Tropical Cove, and we would go there and listen to him mix. And he had a nice setup, sound system wise, up in that spot. That's where I heard cuts from the Mac, you know, from Willie Hutch, you know, Jungle Boogie, you know, Blackwater Gold, you know, oh man, all those cuts.
Wow. So, man, there was a lot of action around Franklin Avenue and Fulton Street.
There were a lot of clubs in Brooklyn, period.
Okay, all right.
You know, that it's phenomenal. You had your choice of places to go. You know, once you got older, obviously some of the spots they weren't for teenagers, they wouldn't let you in, but once you became 18 and older, you could get into those other places.
Wow. Okay. So let's discuss some of the spots that you played at in Brooklyn.
Well, I'll start with the one that we had our longest stint, and that was the Promoter Manor, and that was on Flatbush Avenue, between Church. I forgot the other side street was, and we played there for about a year and a half. And that was, oh man, you see the picture behind me, right?
Yeah. That's the crazy sound system, man.
We had all those speakers up in the club. There was not a corner in the club where there wasn't some speakers. So those people got surround sound when they came in there.
So wow, I mean, compared to now, that's something that we need to discuss. Like the DJs from your era had to provide the sound system.
Yes.
Okay. It wasn't like as you call a speaker on a stick, right?
Yeah.
Or what do you call it?
Yeah, that's right. A speaker on a stick, you know. Once these companies got wind of hip hop and blah 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 blah, they started, you know, mass producing instant DJ equipment for DJs, because all that stuff that you see behind me, that's not from the store. My engineer, he built all of that.
Oh wow, he built the speaker system for you.
He built, yes, all of that is built. You know, he had designs, went to whoever the carpenter, whatever, and they put together everything for him. That's custom made.
Wow.
Yeah, these DJs, they don't do custom made. They go right to it's like taking a suit off the rack. You know, I'll take that system. Yeah, that's what they do now.
So that was the famous sound system that DJs, I'm like refraining from saying hip hop because hip hop wasn't coined at that time. But
No.
it seemed like all the Caribbean DJs had sound systems. You guys
Yes,
had sound
definitely.
systems.
Yes.
And the only thing I could say is what I would like to, normally what I call you guys is mobile DJs.
That's what we were.
Okay.
Urban mobile DJs.
Okay. So where does the sound system influence come from?
I would say we got a lot of influence from the Caribbean brothers.
Okay.
That came here. Cause in my estimation, well, they had Jamaican sound systems in the Caribbean.
Right.
Always look that up. So they brought that knowledge here, building their own equipment and things like that. And along with the American guys, we caught up on that too. So that was like a precursor to the sound system. And then, when you're playing reggae, reggae music has you have to have some bass.
Gotta have bottom.
So they were known for having good bass speakers on their sound systems.
Oh, okay. So we talking all right. Again, pre-hip hop era.
Yes.
What is Brooklyn known for at that particular time? What are you guys, the DJs, what are y'all known for?
I would say we were known for our massive sound systems.
Okay.
That's what we're known for. You couldn't show up at any spot if you were playing for somebody with some rinky-dink stuff. The crowd wasn't having it. The promoters definitely weren't having it. The promoters would not hire you unless you had some quality equipment.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
All the major promoters would not hire you if you didn't have the proper equipment.
So hold up. Let's stop for a second. You had to take those speakers behind you into a club?
Yeah, well, depending on the setup in the club, we didn't have to use all of that. But if we were battling against somebody, which we did, yeah, we'd take them out.
Okay. I mean, all right, let's get to that. Let's get to the battles. What did a battle entail back then?
Well, back then it entailed on how well you rock the crowd.
Okay.
How well you can keep that crowd dancing and have them screaming. And we were good at that. Definitely good at that. So I remember our first major battle was from these dudes from Staten Island called the Party Doctors. Now, we didn't know what they had, and we had never seen them before. So we went to Paradise Garage and we borrowed a couple of these Bertha speakers, bass speakers. Each cabinet had like two 18-inch woofers inside them. I remember that the night we got them, and my boy Larry B said, "Man, wait till you hear these things when you get here." And we was testing them out. And then when we got there, matter of fact, we took all our equipment up there to Staten Island at the Plaza Casino, and the stuff that you see in the back, we didn't even have to use half of that stuff. We just put it out there for display. Because once we put those two bass Berthas on each side of the stage, those boys went into cardiac arrest.
Wow.
Turn on our system.
Man, so what I'm hearing is DJs were in different barrels. DJs wasn't just in one specific geographic area.
No, not at all.
Okay,
not at
so
all.
okay, and two, why don't you tell the folks where the Paradise Garage was located?
Oh, Paradise Garage. I was in Manhattan, Tribeca area on the west side. It was a gay club, but they had an awesome sound system. That's why a lot of people like to go there. Larry Levan was the DJ for the Paradise Garage.
Right. Okay, so you just named Larry Levan. Now I'm a
he was the house DJ. He didn't move around.
Okay, he was pretty much stationary.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about who were some of the DJs that were moving around the city, in particular Brooklyn, but who were moving around the city, the mobile DJs?
There's so many, but I'll just give you. Matter of fact, I got a flyer right here, so I can just run off the names. So you got Pete DJ Jones.
Okay.
Flowers, definitely. You got Maboya. You got Plumber.
Ooh.
You got Dagger. You got the Smith Brothers. You got Larry D and QJ. That's like a handful of these are the top guns right there. You know, these are the DJs that when you heard their name on WBLS or you saw a flyer with them, that's who you would go listen to, depending on what type of style that you liked. You know, each DJ back then had their own style of what they wanted to play for the crowd.
So, what was Pete hailing from the Bronx? What was his style like?
Pete played a little bit of everything for the crowd. Matter of fact, I read his interview. Matter of fact, I think you might have mentioned it in your book. What he liked to play. You know, he didn't play like one like R&B all night or funk all night or whatever all night. You know, he mixed it up depending on what the crowd was feeling. Yeah.
Oh man. So we got the Pete. Now let's move to the Grandmaster.
Can't say enough about him.
Okay.
Really, because the first time I heard him play out in the parks, the Caribbean festival, and then when I heard him in the club when I first, he was mixing Bobby Bird Hot Pants I'm Coming, and he mixed it so well. He must have played it for about a good 5 or 6 minutes. It was so smooth. You didn't know when the record began or was about to end, and I just remember us screaming, whenever that record hit that high point and Bobby would go, yeah, boom, boom, and we would just lose our minds, and then he would go into Hum Along and Dance by the Jackson 5. And, so now we're gonna, he done took it up a notch,
Again, this is pre-hip hop.
Yes. Pre-hip hop, keeping the beats going on certain records. Flowers had this knack of sometimes just bringing in the break part of a record, and you like, oh shit, okay, and then he would mix it that he would go back to the beginning of the record. You didn't even know that was the beginning of the record. You thought it was just part of the after the break part. He was that masterful.
So we have Pete DJ Jones hailing from the Bronx, Grandmaster Flowers hailing from Brooklyn.
Yes.
Pete has stated that they had a great working relationship. That's in terms of, it was competition, but it was a friendly competition. It was like,
yeah, because even when I got to battle against Flowers, it wasn't like, oh, I'm looking to take this guy out, I'm gonna do this Flowers. No, it was an honor for me to play against him. That's how much respect I had for him as a DJ. I wasn't looking at, oh yeah, I took Flowers out that night, and it was too much respect for the brother, because he had led the way.
Right. Right. I mean, okay, we got Maboya, Plumbers. What was Undertaker Ash like?
Undertaker Ash, matter of fact, I just got some of his information from a promoter yesterday. I have to contact him because he's a wealth of knowledge too.
Brother's still around.
What's that?
I said he's still around.
Yes, he was the first DJ that started spinning punk rock music back when punk rock was coming in late 70s.
Okay.
He called this group the Rock and Roll Outlaws. Yep. So playing all that punk music, the Clash, all those groups, the Ramones, all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, different vibe going on at his spots.
And Undertaker is from where?
Brooklyn.
Okay.
He used to be a graffiti writer.
Ash.
Yeah, Ash the Undertaker. That was his tag.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're seeing a connection with Brooklyn and hip hop.
Definitely. The thing that people get confused, and the more I look into Herc's history, every time he does a legitimate interview, he says he played disco music too. Okay. He just didn't play break beats all night. Because depending on what kind of crowd you're attracting, you're not going to play one style all night because nobody's going to dance.
Right.
That's the thing. Because even when I was at the promoter, I had the hustle dances and I had the freestyle dances. So I had to make sure I do a freestyle. We call the up rocking.
Right. So freestyle.
Another word for up rocking.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So the terminology. That's what I had stated, like in the publication, like the terminology that we use in Brooklyn, and I don't know if it was Uptown, but we always call that freestyling.
Yeah.
What you're saying, the rocking part. We didn't, right. So, okay. All right.
Because if you check out some of my flyers, you'll see the word freestyling on them, and that's what it meant.
Okay.
The guys who were doing the up rocking moves, and all of that.
Okay.
Before they started sitting on their backs. Yeah.
Let's talk about. I'm really focusing on you and the DJ history of Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And the Mobile DJ Foundation. One of the things that normally I have to always argue at some of the debates is in terms of New York or hip hop emerging. Brooklyn wasn't there because we had disco DJs. So that's always been the argument. We had the DJs, but they weren't hip hop DJs. So what would you say to that argument that Brooklyn only had, we had disco DJs?
First of all, that whole terminology of disco is sort of like we were doing some Saturday Night Fever type, playlist. Disco for me back then for us was just short for discotheque. That's what it meant. We were still doing funky music and R&B. All right, so they basically just focused on just playing beats for the break dances, because basically that's what the music did. They clear a circle and just the guys would be dancing against each other. Well, yeah, that can go, but so far after a while. But what about the ladies who come there to dance, for God? You got to play music for them too. you know. But the fact that, okay, they just played beats a good portion of the night, because even Hurt say he didn't do that the whole night. He played like, maybe, I don't know, middle of the night, whatever they decided to do it. Then he go back to playing the regular music, so to speak, if you want to call it disco or whatever, which, you know, yeah, that's a misnomer. It's because it says disco that we didn't play funky music and R&B music.
Right. Well, let's name some of the tunes that you used to spin.
Oh my God. I need a piece of paper here. Matter of fact, I feel like I had pulled out some records a little while ago, but let's talk about in terms of records that I have that today will be considered hip hop, which is ridiculous because they're just funky records.
Okay.
You know, Blackwater Gold was a classic. Blackwater Gold. Obviously, you got It Just Begun. Matter of fact, any record by Jimmy Castor off his albums, you know, obviously you got James Brown, you know, you have that, you got Instant Funk, you know, you got that group, you got Larry Graham. Oh, let me tell you about Larry Graham, his album, no doubt about it. So we went up to the Bronx, 1976. And Larry Graham's Station, their second album dropped. And the first cut was just a monster album. And we played it at the block party up there in the Bronx, and the people went bananas because they had all these different break parts along the cuts. You know, first the guitar soloist, he had his little thing. Then the organ player did his thing. Then Chocolate, she did her thing on the synthesizer. And then the drummer, he did his drum break, you know. And then Larry Graham came in and he played his bass guitar. But I would repeat the drum break and the nice break that Chocolate had on her synthesizer. She had this nice little funky thing going on that I used to just rip over and over again. But yeah, that album was a monster. Especially on the sound system, you know, it rang up there that night.
So you was truly a mobile DJ because you was traveling around. You were able to
until we found a place to hang out for a while. You know, house DJs they called us then.
Okay. Let me ask you, what was the environment like back then? I mean, you know, like when you see the old school movies, Wild Style, and, you know, different Star Wars, things of that nature. You see like Brownsville, you see the Bronx, all burnt out. Was it really like that at that particular time? Brooklyn, New York, Brownsville?
Not in Crown Heights, but in East New York, they had some sections of some abandoned buildings, not like in the Bronx, but there was some, and I used to hang out there. Like I said, that was Tomahawk territory. So, you know, the first time I went, I was worried about, oh man, I'm gonna run into Tomahawks out here, and it's just me. But like I said, I never ran into them, only at the club, and nothing wild went down in those spots while they were there. And then after we left the teenage scene and started hanging out with 18 more and above, there was never any violence. And even when we played outside in the park with all that expensive equipment that we had, the music made people happy, made them happy. They went home feeling good. I remember one time we shut down the sound system because it was time to pack it up and everybody started leaving. And then I threw on Rick James, You and I. They came running back into the park. It was crazy.
Oh man,
that's how the vibe was. There was never any violence, no gunshots going off. You know, during all the people. Cause we talking about the Brevoort projects I used to play in.
Wow. Okay.
Packed. The place would be packed. people would be standing outside on the curb looking through the fence, while we were jamming.